Last time, on my adventures with Sparks... Hey look, a dragon! Work with us! Yeah, alright. Dude, what's with that scroll? Oh, it's my free narrative control spell. And the DM took it. Guys, I slept with a princess and killed the king and framed it on a dude. What do you do on a Friday night? Hey, aren't you guys supposed to be investigating a murder? Oh yeah, but real quick, let me steal 1,000 pounds of highly valuable sugar. And now we're at the dwarf hold. Yay! So, after traveling, the dwarves aren't too suspicious of us. We pay the toll to get into the city, and pick up some supplies to help with our venture into the Underdark. Some torches and extra food, mostly. The dwarves have the mines heavily guarded and sealed up after working the day to keep the Underdark monsters from getting into the city. They said they're going to seal it up once we go down there. And they do. Well, no turning back now. Now, most of our party does not have dark vision. Not even Sparks. Guess they forgot to install that update. We light our torches and follow the tunnel.
6.5 hours later.
Where the fuck are we? So, yeah, we're lost. The Underdark is a subterranean world filled with all kinds of nasty stuff, and lots of monsters and animals that burrow. Meaning that the maps we have are useless because the tunnel you came through might be 2 tunnels heading back in different directions in just a few hours, or it may cave in and block your path entirely. The party was getting cranky after being lost, presumably for days. We didn't even know if it was days because we couldn't see the sun. We're about to give up and look for a way out when Bakhtuar finds something interesting. A red feather flower. The poison flower we've been looking for. Following the trail, we find a whole bed of them. They're in neat little rows growing alongside mushrooms in a small room that smells like animal dung. How about that? It's almost like a little garden. Wait, if this is like a garden, then where are the gardeners? Despite the concern, Bakhtuar isn't worried. So what if they can come back? We'll just interrogate them for further information. Itsiko isn't as convinced. I'm not so sure about that. Most people don't place guards in their gardens, even if they're growing super poison flowers. But they do normally leave a guard dog or something. Loafus rolls his eyes, continuing to antagonize her, mostly for shits and giggles. Itsiko, please. We're like 100 feet underground. What kind of guard dog could they possibly have? Hey, does anyone else feel something? Oh boy, did they have a guard dog all right. And what a guard dog it was. It's a kind of burrowing monster called a bullet. It's what happens when a giant mole and a tank have a baby. It's huge, heavily armored, and has wicked claws and teeth, and it can burrow through solid rock like it's swimming. This creature came from a side wall, bursting through it like the freaking Kool-Aid Man. Yeah! And the worst happened. We managed to dodge the rocks, but the party was separated. Loafus, Itsiko, and Sparks on one side, Bakhtuar, Pleb, and Lamorak on the other. Sparks' side was stuck with the bullet. At first, we stood and fought the monster, hoping to stall long enough for the others to find a tunnel and get back to us. But it quickly became apparent that fighting this thing wasn't going to be easy. We were all level 11, sure, but this was a homebrew improvement upon a bullet made by our DM. Something he called a stone shell bullet. It was bigger and slower, but far more deadly. Its bite attack did a bunch more damage, and its body had armor like solid rock that had resistance to all non-magical damage. On top of this, the cave-in caused Sparks to drop his torch, which went out. So now the robot boy is firing blind. To make matters worse, the tunnel was only wide enough for 2 people to stand in front of the bullet at any one time. So if he wasn't careful, Sparks may accidentally fry his friends. Sparks tells Loafus they have to retreat, and we all start running, with the stone shell bullet hot on our heels. It may not be able to run very fast, but boy can it jump. It leaps forward a clean 20 feet almost and swallows Loafus whole. After beating up the creature for a bit, we force it to throw Loafus back up, and we keep running down the tunnel. Now we come to a crossroads. The tunnel splits into 4 directions, and none of us know which way to go, or which way we came from. The monster is getting closer and closer. Sparks is firing off spells now that he has more space, but the creature's resistances are a tough shell to crack, not to mention the darkness. Eventually, Sparks decides to pull out all the stops. Using his meta magic to empower his spell, he casts Disintegrate. A beam of crackling energy shoots blind into the darkness from his eyes like a deadly robot laser, and the burrowing horror takes a direct hit, reduced to a pile of dust. Holy shit. Turns out the stone shell bullet didn't have as much HP as its normal cousins, so it was low enough that this kind of spell was able to insta-kill it. After a moment of stunned silence, the rest of the group catches up. Some of them are a bit miffed that I disintegrated the body and we can't use its parts to sell or anything, but hey, at least you're not, bullet dung now. Anyway, Loafus senses something, and we decide to follow him down the tunnel. I mean, what else are we going to do? We've been down here for days. But as we continue to follow Loafus, we discover he was leading us to the true master of the place. Deep in these tunnels, atop a mountain of cursed objects and fine works of art, is a dragon. But its bones are exposed to the elements, with bits of flesh dangling off its hollowed eye sockets, a mouth filled with sharp, yellowed teeth, exhaling dark, necromantic energy. We had stumbled into the lair of a Dracolich, a dragon that has become a lich. Friend of yours? Man, I'm getting real sick of these dragon encounters. How many dragons can one DM throw at a group? Like, honestly. The Dracolich senses us almost immediately, and a harrowing fight is ahead. We're all exhausted from being lost in the Underdark for so long, and the blue Dracolich senses this weakness. However, she is willing to talk after we whittle her down to half HP, even though we're almost dead as well. Why have you come into my lair? A house of death for such trespassers. Loafus and Pleb look at each other, smile, dice are rolled, and these two once again convince this dragon to join up with us. We name this one Dr. Pepper, no, I am not sponsored, and ask if she knows the way to the surface. I can show you the way, as a favor for friends and a fellow undead. Oh, by the way, the Dracolich's claw gently takes hold of a pendant that has been around the neck of Loafus this whole time, and shatters it. And with that, the curse that turned Loafus into a lich is broken. Like most things, he didn't start out as the undead. His flesh and beautiful hair return, revealing he was an Asimar. So super rare undead thing to super rare celestial thing. Yeah, okay, got it. You would think having the lich curse broken would be a good thing, but Loafus kinda liked being undead. It gave him an edge in physical combat. However, he also knew that his business ideas wouldn't go all that well if he had a spooky, scary skeleton face all the time. He asked the Dracolich for information on how to repair the amulet and how to break it. She says that breaking it is easy, but repairing it is actually pretty hard. She has materials and the knowledge to do so, and is willing to teach Loafus and give him some materials in exchange for a favor. After failing a dice roll to get this information for free, Loafus and Dr. Pepper strike a deal. He will give her riches, specifically fine works of art that she loves so much, and she will give Loafus what he wants with the amulet in return. So yeah, now Loafus basically has a button where he can turn lich form on and off pretty much whenever he wants. Dr. Pepper shows us the way out, and we give her a communication crystal, saying we'll be in touch. She accepts it and goes back into her lair. Finally, we venture out into the sun, free of the Underdark, going out into the warm, beautiful, welcoming desert! Oh, come on! So, yeah, out of the frying pan and into the fire, as they say. Literally in this case. What was even worse is that we were running low on food and had almost no water left. I mean, that wasn't going to bother Sparks at all. He didn't really need to eat or drink. And Loafus could just become undead again and not have to worry about that either. The rest of the party was kind of screwed, though. But salvation was at hand. For only a few hours of desert wandering later, we hear a rumbling in the distance. We turn to see a massive, mechanical fortress moving towards us on metal tank treads. But that'll have to wait for part 5. Coming soon! Man, what is it with Loafus and these dragons, am I right? Leave a like if you enjoyed, share the video around to support the channel, and subscribe for part 5. I don't want to spoil anything, but maybe we'll get some more insight onto who created Sparks and why. Check out my social media in the description below, and don't forget to have fun on your own adventures. See ya!